here is Donald Trump talking about Joe Biden and the fragility, if you would, of Mr. Biden right now.
But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks, he can't lift his feet out of the grass. You know, it's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. You know, those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces.
Yeah.
You lift them up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach. Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be working. You're supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent. But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and knocking it down? And why should anybody, human beings, these are human, whether they're Russian or Ukrainian or whatever they are, it's got to be stopped. And it can be stopped very easily. It would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started.
Wow. So there was a lot there. It was a sort of all-encompassing interview. We're going to get to the former president's thoughts on the potential for civil war in just a moment, because he asked him that. It was interesting, the whole thing, really and truly pretty darn interesting to see. But I think I'm looking at it in part just saying, wait a second, everything that's been so tightly controlled in our world, that's changing. And I think there's an authenticity factor that is, it's what people value, right? Like, let's be honest, like people want what's real. And you're seeing that both in terms of the media, in terms of how people are consuming the media in this sort of 3D fashion. As I see comments, Mike O'Donnell, good to see you again. Micah, Biking Cat here, Johnny, great to see everyone. But in other words, we're in this sort of position and space where we can communicate directly rather than it's sort of from top down, right? And it's a very small example, but it's an important example. And you're also seeing that within the media space of the Fox News sort of machine there in Milwaukee with everybody on stage, all the bright lights, camera, action, the very tightly controlled script, the very tightly controlled narrative. Very interestingly, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but it was not until about an hour through that program there on Fox News last night that they even addressed Donald Trump, who's the front runner right now. They didn't even bring him up. It's like the guy didn't exist. You know why? I know this because I used to work there, and they can pretend all they want that he wasn't on the top of their mind. Let me tell you, he was front and center on their minds. All they could think about, because they're like, oh my gosh, these ratings. Why don't we have the front runner for the GOP actually at our GOP debate? Well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that you guys have not exactly been transparent or so kind, and not that you have to be kind. You don't. But at least be fair, right, to him. And so I think that factored into the decision, and it was a smart decision to make. Hey everyone, Trish Regan here. If you enjoyed that clip, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel. Just hit that little subscribe button right over there. Did I do that right? Not quite, but you know where it is. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get the alerts, and I'll see you back on the show.